Today's topic will be how social media is damaging one's mental health. First of all, I'll be giving an introduction about what social media is and how it works. Then I'll talk about the benefits a little bit. Later on, I'll be getting into the effect it has on your brain psychologically. And ultimately, I'll talk about how it affects your mental health in a negative way. So the actual term social media refers to a computer-based technology system that facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through virtual networks and communities. So we're talking about Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all these platforms. And because it's internet-based, it gives users a quick communication of content, and that content can be anything, but it's mostly personal stuff, so it includes personal videos, personal photos, or documents, and just general information, just your personality basically, if you have an account on these platforms. Um, and a study also estimated that around 4.5 billion people are using social media actively, and the leading countries are Asian countries like Indonesia. Social media's original intent was actually to create a platform for families and friends to just interact with each other. So to share videos and text each other. Um, but then later, businesses adopted this new platform or this new way of communication because they had a further reach. Um, they could basically put their information out there and everyone in the world could see it. So for businesses, it was a great opportunity to expand, basically. So now, sorry. So now that I've talked about the concept and how it evolved over time, I'll be getting into the benefits. Although my general opinion lays more on the negative side, there are still some really good benefits social media brings and opportunities it gives to people. So yeah. So for one, you can stay connected with people. In today's world, it's next to impossible to meet your friends and relatives every day due to the increasing stress and workload, for example. However, dropping a brief text, asking about their day, or sharing your own achievements are a few ways you can still maintain a healthy contact, especially if you have friends or family members who don't live nearby, or, as I said before, have a lot of work and don't have much time to have face to face meetings. Another benefit about social media is that you can stay opinionated. Some more than others may not be surrounded by people who think or feel the same way as they do, and with social media, you can share your opinions and views safely and find a network of people who share your values and thoughts. And this form of reinsurance can help you gain a strong voice for yourself. It also builds your confidence when you feel a need to speak up, for example, in discussion or, yeah, in general. It is also great for newly starting artists and entrepreneurs to present themselves. Scouts and other artists are also looking for new potential on social media. So if you like what you're doing and you think it's good stuff, you have the ability to post it and basically establish yourself. And if it responds well, you'll gain notice and you have a bigger chance of engaging in your passion, basically. So that's another benefit. So these were some of the benefits that social media brings. And now I'll be getting into the psychological effect it has on your brain. So, yes, keep tight, hold tight, yes. Res- Research has shown that the constant use of social media has shaped our our neurological, that's a hard one, architecture of our brain. Our structure, function, and cognitive ability has changed in three key areas. And the first one is our attention span. When using apps like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, users are viewing what seems like an endless scroll of photos, captions, comments, likes, and tags, and all these notifications. While users are processing this constant influx of information, additional app prompts and notifications are kind of competing for attention and can cause individuals to displace their concentration across multiple, basically, incoming media streams. So if you're on your phone, I don't know, scrolling through Insta Reels or whatever, and all these other notifications from other apps or social media platforms kind of pop up, what happens then is that, yeah, your concentration is not just focusing on one aspect, it's being divided basically into all these other pop-ups and notifications. This then puts our brains in a constant state of multitasking, which is hindering our ability to focus and is shortening our attention span. And researchers also believe that since social media competes for your attention with the promise of continuous new content, heavy social media users become less able to ignore distraction in general, which leads to poor cognitive performance and shrinks parts of the brain associated with maintaining concentration. The next key area is our memory and information processing. And studies suggest that social media affects the content of memories, the recollection of memories, and also the capacity of memory. Millions of people use social media to record and share their experiences, but new research has shown that using social media apps to document an experience may actually diminish your memory of the moments you should actually preserve them. And researchers also believe that social media is affecting our transactive memory, which basically means the way our brain divides information and decides where to store it, basically. And with the advent of social media and smartphones, we know where to find information or proof about the event, but we don't keep as many details about the experience stored internally in our memory because it's basically done for us by like galleries and archives and all that good stuff. The third and last key area is the emotional response system. And basically, social media is made to be addictive. Each like or positive comment presents a little hit of dopamine to our brain, which is creating reward pathways in the brain, causing you to desire these likes and retweets even more. However, the absence of likes and comments can leave us feeling empty, sad, anxious, or even depressed because our brain isn't getting that hit of dopamine, so it's not being stimulated in that kind of way. Um, Research shows that regular social media users, especially those under 30, often find themselves comparing their lives to those they see online, questioning their self worth, and basically overanalyzing their relationships and importance to those in their social media circle based on social media. Oops, sorry. Sorry about all this sniffing. Um, Unfortunately, a bit sick. Anyways, the self comparison and feeling of being left out aren't concepts specific to social media. Most social media apps allow the process to happen much faster and much more often than in real life social interactions. Studies have shown interactions people experience online, whether positive or negative, can start to shape a user's behavior in their real life world experiences, according to a study from the Relationships and Technology Lab at the University of Kansas. For example, people may feel additional pressure to present their ideal self and go out of their way to take photos just for social media usage. Growing evidence indicates this kind of exaggerated representation perpetuates the cycle of comparison and often leads to feelings of inadequacy and sadness. So, as my last point already kind of touched on, social media, when being used heavily, does affect your mental health in a bad way. At least that's my opinion. For one, it can take the feeling of, for one, sorry, it can create the feeling of missing out. Um, I think it's called FOMO or FOMO, and it's another reason why scrolling through social media is so enticing. When your friends and classmates are using social media, you may worry about, I don't know, missing a message, an inside joke, or just other general information that connects you to your peers. However, constant checking and scrolling can have a detrimental effect on schoolwork and studying, like with me, for example. The distraction can lead to procrastination. Is it pronounced that way? Procrastination. Less retention of information, and higher levels of stress. You may also experience feelings of exclusion, loneliness, or anxiety when you see posts of others enjoying a good time or whatever. So, having a whole kind of digital world at your fingertips can put a damper on getting out and having real social connections and in person interactions. So, I would suggest you to take opportunities to see friends in person rather than chatting behind a screen whenever possible. Another big issue, which can have a bad effect on your mental health, is the portrayal of beauty in social media. You see this kind of ideal standard of like a body type, hair, teeth, height, and yeah, just all these physical attributes. And you try to live up to it because you think that's the real world and that's what you have to compete with. But it's actually not true, and it can also put a lot of pressure on you, make you feel insecure about yourself, and have a general negative effect on your life, man. But the root of the problem with social media really is the addictiveness. Social media apps and websites have the same kind of effect on the brain as really as playing a slot machine. Since you don't know the content you'll see until you open the app, the spontaneous results actually cause a feeling of reward by releasing dopamine. It's the same kind of chemical linked to other pleasurable activities like food, exercise, or sex. And just another thing, that's just my personal opinion, really, but it's also not very aesthetic. Have you ever seen like two couples in a restaurant or outside, both being on their phone, mouth open, kind of saliva drooping out? It's not really, it just looks horrible, in my opinion. So that's just, yeah. Even for that reason alone, I wouldn't be on social media too much. Um, but that's my podcast, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. Peace out.